Ever they buried my name, may their hands catch fire. As you speak, shake the sand in your hand a little as a sign of shaking of bondage. You must not do this in fear. That your voice must carry the authority of someone who knows the kingdom of darkness is shaking. Again, go to a different place outside and let the sand go while speaking judgment out loud. On the third day, the practice becomes the strongest. On this day, you will get up early, put oil on your forehead and your feet, and speak over the sand one last time. But this time, call for God's justice. Say, as I return this sand to the ground, let every hidden enemy be seen. Let their secrets come out, and let every spiritual coffin they made for me become their own. I bury their wickedness under this earth and seal it with fire. This is the day when many people start to see things happen. Sudden dreams of snakes dying, old friends telling the truth, or people getting sick and asking for mercy. After letting the last bit of sand go back home quietly and put oil on your doorway. Do not gossip or talk too much that day. Stay in a place. All of worship and quiet. This practice is not witchcraft. It is a spiritual turning around of evil plans, using one of God's first creations. The earth was not made for you to be buried in the spirit, but to carry your blessing. When you finish the 3 days, thank God for showing your enemies, for lifting your name from the dust, and for turning the enemy's weapon back to their own camp. Do not go looking for results. They will come by themselves. Just as the enemies send trouble to you quietly, their defeat will come loudly. Some will call you crying. Others will dream of you chasing them. And some will even start to avoid you because they now fear what you carry. This is how the sand works. Quietly, powerfully, and directly. You have taken what was meant for your destruction and used it for your freedom. This practice will change your spiritual weather forever. And once you have done it with understanding and faith, you will never go back to who you were. You will walk with courage, knowing that every bit of sand under your feet now carries your authority. You will walk with confidence, knowing that God gave you power over creation and that your enemies can no longer hide in the dark while burying your future, because now you know how to send it all back to the sender. After finishing the sand practice for 3 days, things begin to change in the spiritual world with force and clarity. You may start to have dreams where the people who have been behind your problems suddenly look confused, are shown for who they are, or are asking for mercy. Some people say they see snakes cut into pieces, witches telling the truth in public, or strange birds falling dead outside their houses. These are not just accidents. They are signs that the sand has started its proper job of judgment. The most surprising part is when someone who seemed nice suddenly stays away from you, starts to act scared, or even says things they never meant to say. Their tongues become loose and their secrets start to chase them. Some people have told how enemies who once stood strong against them began to get sick in a strange way, lose their own protection, or be troubled by the very spirits they sent. Because when you send back what they buried, the spirits that were sent to trouble you turn around and start troubling the sender. You might start getting unexpected apologies, strange messages, or direct fights, as those who once walked in the shadows can no longer hide. Their cover has been taken off and they know it. Some will cry in your dreams, asking you to forgive them. Others may try to pay you or confuse you to stop what you have done. But do not be afraid. Once the practice has been done in a right way and with God's authority, you have started a judgment that cannot be undone by evil hands. This is where you must stay prayerful, quiet, and watchful. During this time, your spiritual senses will get stronger. You will start hearing clearly, understanding faster, and noticing the feeling around certain people changing. Light has come in and darkness cannot stand against it. Those who once controlled you in the spirit now shake when you are near. The same sand they used to trap your life has now turned against them, carrying your voice and God's justice wherever it lands. Sometimes within 3 days of finishing, the person behind your troubles may be shamed in public, arrested, get sick, or even die if they refuse to change. This is not because you wanted it, but because God's court has decided. What many do not realize is that the earth itself answers to what is wrong. When someone uses creation to destroy a child of God, that same creation rises to protect the innocent. That is why after this practice, stories of success start to come in. People say job offers suddenly appear. Long court cases are won. Peace in marriage comes back, and strange burdens lift from their lives. Things you tried for years to do suddenly start to move. Your money gets better. Your health comes back. Your joy returns. It is not magic. It is God putting things back in order. You called back what was stolen. You dug up what was buried. You reversed what was cursed. And the results show it is true. The fear of God will fall on those who thought they could ruin your life in silence. Now they see you have found spiritual knowledge that shows hidden things and stops wickedness. And from now on, the spiritual world knows your voice. The sand remembers you. The earth will now work for you. And your enemies will never forget the day they tried to bury you and ended up digging their own graves. Now that you have seen what sand can do in the spiritual world, it is time to look inside and ask yourself a serious question. How long have you put up with what God never called you to accept? How many years have you suffered quietly while your enemies celebrated over your buried future? How many times have you fasted and prayed without knowing that a simple thing like sand could hold the key to your freedom? This is your awakening. This is the moment your eyes must open not only to who your enemies are, but to who you are in the spirit. You are not weak. You are not helpless. You are not a victim. You are a spiritual fighter with God's authority over creation. And the fact that you now know how to use sand for fighting is a sign that your training is done. You have been awakened for a reason. Your delay, your loss, your shame, your cycles of almost but never, none of it was by chance. It was an evil plan meant to bury you alive. But God allowed it. So that when you rise with fire, you rise with understanding, you rise with scars that now carry wisdom, and you rise with authority that no one can take from you again. You now understand that spiritual fights need spiritual weapons. And sometimes the strongest weapon is not the loudest prayer, but the most exact action. Speaking to sand may seem odd to the natural mind, but in the spirit world, it is a statement of control. A saying that you refuse to let the enemy use what God created for your blessing. This is why you must never go back to the days when you begged people to love you. When you explained yourself to people who were secretly trying to ruin you, or when you put up with delay, thinking it was just bad luck. Now you know better. Now you understand that some delays are spiritual traps buried where you can see them. And now that you have broken those traps, it is time to walk in a new way. It is time to stop hiding your power. Stop quieting your gifts. Stop saying sorry for your anointing, and stop making yourself small to fit in places you were called to lead. This sand practice has woken up something old inside of you. Something that was buried but never dead. And now that it is alive again, your enemies will never sleep. I well again. Because when a child of God wakes up with knowledge, hell starts to panic. You have now become a spiritual threat. You have become a voice of judgment to wicked altars. You have become the fulfillment of God's promise that those who dig a hole will fall into it themselves. And you must never forget this. Change. Guard it. Take care of it. Make it grow and teach others what you have learned. Because this level of awakening is not only for you, it is for your family. Your freedom is their future. Your courage is their protection. And your voice is now a trumpet in the spirit. Walk. Speak with it. Speak with it. Declare with it. And never go back to not knowing about the spirit again. Now I want you to stand and speak this with fire in your voice. Not as someone who hopes to be free, but as someone who knows freedom has already been spoken. Say this. I stand upon the earth as one who carries God's authority. I speak to every grain of sand that was used to curse me, bury my name, delay my life, or destroy my future. Hear the voice of the Lord through me and refuse every evil word spoken against me. I command you, O sand, to become a weapon of judgment against every wicked. altar raised in my name. Let those who buried my name in darkness be shown by the light. Let every witch, every warlock, every sorcerer who touched sand to hurt me fall into their own pit. I start spiritual